Hello, everyone. It is Friday, the 15th of March, 2024, and I was up super late last night in the office trying to go over distances calculations on this flat Earth plane. And super late at night, I was trying to get some like really hard friggin' questions answered. I answered them myself. I had no choice. But it was just regarding Chat GPT and Google Earth and maps and stuff like that, and trying to look at distances that are actually provided from the internet and from maps and stuff like that, and if they actually are correlated to real distances that we actually see here on Earth. And so even with for example, towns or cities that just fall like on the equatorial line, or the Tropic of Cancer, or the Tropic of Capricorn. I'll bring up a diagram. I should have brought that up before, but it just makes it easier to see. Let me see here. I like the Flat Earth Sun Moon clock app, because this is a clock. It just makes it easier to show you what I'm talking about for anyone that's new here. This is a little bit blurry, but for the sun's path that it travels every single friggin' year, just to be clear, you've got here the Tropic of Cancer that the sun travels over, the equatorial area, and then the Tropic of Capricorn. The sun, and just imagine you're looking at your stupid globe. It's not a globe, okay? But like imagine you're looking downward at it. This is what it would look like, as close as possible. Obviously, like I'm more into like the Peterson's projection map that is transfixed to this model. But this is that's, I think Dave Weiss, anyways, he has like one of the closest representations of like a downward view of the Earth, and also the luminary's path, right? So the North Pole, the Polaris, is directly in the center, right in the friggin' middle, at 0 friggin' like degrees, whatever you want to call it, and then anything south would be like the distance that would be measured to tell you how far away from the north you are, and etc. That's just an example. And so on the Tropic of Capricorn, you have places like Australia, where Alice Springs, where it passes directly above Alice Springs, Australia, and then when it's at the equatorial area, it passes over, Cayambe and other areas, and then Tropic of Cancer, when it's closest to the center of the Earth, is when again, it's passing over other areas within this Earth. And if the sun was 93 million alleged miles away, that would not be possible to have that much of a change. And it's hilarious how people, Globies, try to explain that away with axial tilt. And I've shown with ChatGPT as well, where it says it's regardless of if you're using a ball, a globe, a sphere, or whatever, the calculations are the same, using trigonometry and stuff like that to calculate the distances. So I didn't have my screen up. I was going to show something else. I'll look into my photos again, because I want to show the sun's path too. Excuse me. And anyways, I was trying to talk about this with someone from the truther community. I might not say the friggin' name, but a really big one in the truther community, and instead asking me for photos of myself, and that really pissed me off. Wasn't being helpful at all with like the questions I was trying to ask, like over Telegram, and then asking me for a photo of myself. Like I'm like, first of all, I'm never gonna send a fucking photo of myself to anyone in the truther community. I'm sorry that I don't understand why that's even fucking asked, especially if people are in relationships and stuff like that. It's even more disgusting and annoying. And I'll reiterate, like I have been celibate for years now, and there's been a lot of fucking bullshit and trauma that I've been dealing with. And the fact that in the truther community that I'm trying to get information out in, it's nothing but the same bullshit, right? So like even within the truther community, there are people that are in it for their own egotistical reasons and money, and they don't give a shit about getting other truthers within the community, and especially not women. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to see, or you don't see a lot of women truthers in the community speaking out or up, or having like podcasts with other people, or being invited, like I've said for the last few years, because they're too busy trying to harass us or fuck us. Even though a lot of times we're even smarter than them, and they just don't want to fucking listen. They just want to, and so like again, like within the truther community, there's now not likely going to be Anyway, any further debates, unless it's with like someone like Sean Hibbler, Eddie Bravo, or like Eric Dubay, like those types, and we'll see if they even fucking reach out and want to do one. I'm just so annoyed and disappointed, honestly, because it's just the same fucking same old, like, and it just and so I told this person, I'm like, I'm asking you about astronomical mathematics. I'm like, I don't want to, like, I'm not giving you any fucking photos of myself. Like, super inappropriate, super fucking inappropriate. Anyways, this is a astrological wheel. Let me just get back into it. So if there's any questions, I'm not going to see it until I get out of this. This is just to give you a basic example of like the sun's path as well, right? Because like everyone talks about an arc and stuff like that. The fucking sun travels above us in a circular path, okay, on its ecliptical journey through the fucking constellation belt. Not anything, not above or beyond 8 degrees of the zodiacal belt, and no further than 23.4 degrees north or south latitude, which is measurable distance, is approximately 1,600 miles. Measurable distance from the equatorial line, where we have the 0 degree latitude. And anyways, this is all just words. So the sun's path that it travels, and I've shared this on ChatGPT, so it confirms it. And I guess ChatGPT is wrong a lot too. I also prove ChatGPT wrong a lot with information that I know going into it. And then anyway, but if you look at astronomical mathematics and stuff like that, it will also confirm the same thing. And I've showed the astronomical mathematic books. So anyways, the sun rises, looks to be rising, right? There's vanishing points, like how things are perceived is based on our own limitations with our own perception and or the device or the technologies that we're using at the time. So regardless, the sun's path, okay, it appears to be like the backdrop around it, okay? The zodiacal belt is further away. But anyway, in Aries, from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., the sun travels, traveling from east to west in a westward, whatever you want to call it, heading towards the west. We're not heading towards the east. The fucking sun above us is traveling west, you know. And so doing that, and 15 degrees is approximately 1,000 miles for measurable distance on the Earth when you're looking at latitude and degrees and stuff like that. So like even degrees of a circle, like even degrees, correction, is you can make measurable distance out of them. And so anyway, and that's so the sun travels, rises around 6 a.m. heads fucking west through Aries, and then from 8 to 10 a.m. it's in Taurus, from 10 to 12 p.m. 12 a.m. Sorry, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Gemini, and then noon when the sun is at its highest point in the sky, like especially when during the spring and fall equinoxes, when like things are like more in balance, harmonized. And by the way, fun fact with that too, the reason why we have daylight saving times is to distract us from this divine clock, right? So like when they say, oh, the time goes up an hour ahead, it's always like within like a couple of weeks, 2 weeks of like, it's in March. Correct me if I'm wrong. And or around that time. And it's because like they want it to look like the sun is setting, you know, at a later time when it should be setting around 6 p.m. in Libra, heading in Libra during these times, and they don't want us to clue into that stuff, right? Like it's just too divine, it's just too precise and perfect. And if we figured out all of the stuff, it's just it makes it too easy. So from 12 to 2, 2 to 4, 6 to 8, 8 to 10, 12, 2, 4, 6. So 6 p.m. here is again when it's entering Libra, and when the sun generally like it sets or it goes further away from us in the west. But again, it's just traveling into another location of the Earth, right? Like on the circular fucking path above us, and then until it gets furthest away from where I am. Like again, like this is like it's very very complicated, but like 12 a.m. So when the sun is furthest away from us, that is when it's entering into Capricorn, 12 a.m. 2, 4, 6, and then the circle goes around, and this is every single day of every single year. And also So the sun on its daily path, it follows a divine clock through the zodiacal belt, 15 degrees every hour. So for example, every 2 hours, it would be 2,000 miles that it's traveled. Okay, so every 30 degrees, 2,000 miles. So 60 degrees would be approximately 4,000 miles, etc. And so I'm just going to show you another photo to explain the seasons. Okay, I don't know if you can see this. Let me see. Yeah, no, you can't see this one. Okay, I'll show you another screen just to show you. Again, this is just, I'm talking about the sun. And I've talked about this before. Hey, oh, there it is. Okay, so the sun's ecliptical path that it travels above us within the firmament local. When you graph it out or map it out, this is what it looks like, right? And so on the 20th of March of every single year, we have in the Northern Hemisphere, the 21st in the Southern Hemisphere. But anyways, the 20th of March of every single year, we have the spring equinox, equal amount of day and night. And then the sun, from that point, it starts its ascent from equilibrium in the spring when it's in Aries, and it heads towards, again, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, etc. When it gets into Cancer, it's at its highest point. Okay, and this is talking about the annular path that it's taking as well. So this is on the 21st of June of every single year, and it stays at this highest point. It doesn't stay physically stated. Like, again, it does. It's like it does its circular path and stuff like that. But it lands at its highest point in the sky during this period for 3 days, and then from its highest point starts its fall. Okay, and on the 24th of June, just so happens to be Saint Jean de Baptiste Day, which is like celebrating his death, etc. Which again, this is the death of the summer solstice. This is the death of the sun from the summer solstice position, entering into equilibrium again, traveling into the fall equinox, into traveling into Libra. So anyways, that's where most amount of day, where it's in the Tropic of Cancer, closest to us in the Northern Hemisphere also, and where we have our summers. And then you keep on, and then from that point, again, then you start having shorter days, longer nights, until you get, again, on the 23rd of September of every single friggin' year, you have the fall or the fall or the autumn equinox, equal amount of day and night. And then from that point of equilibrium, it starts the descent into the fall, winter months, until it reaches its lowest point or furthest away from us in the Northern Hemisphere, right? That's why it looks low, because it's further fucking away. This is perception, guys. This is what I mean. This proves that the fucking sun is local, that it's traveling above us on a fucking circular fucking path every single goddamn year, like we already fucking know. Okay? And it's not 93 million. Like, I just can't with people anymore. Anyway, so we're on the 21st of December of every single year in the Northern Hemisphere, the 22nd in the Southern Hemisphere. I have to be fucking precise for people because there's so many trolls. Anyway, where it's at its furthest away from Northern America on the Tropic of Capricorn, traveling that path furthest away, right? So making it look like it's slower, right? Because it has a longer path to travel, right? Like the shorter distance that you fucking travel, like it's gonna be, well, like usually it's shorter, right? Unless you have like mountains or barriers, like blockades or friction in the way that prevents you from doing that. Anyway, so the 21st of December in the Northern Hemisphere, we have the shortest amount of days and the longest period of night. Okay, that's because it's like furthest fucking away. And for 3 days, okay, when it travels its path, it lands at the lowest point for 3 days, where it looks to be, where you can technically call it dead. Okay, just like Jesus, Mithras, Dionysus, fucking Apollo, so many other fucking representations of the sun throughout history that also are born, these mythical deities, prophets, gods, and stuff like that are born on the 25th of December. This is why the 25th of December of every single fucking year, sorry for swearing, the sun from its lowest point on the graph starts its ascent when it's entering into Capricorn and then going into Aquarius, etc., until again it gets back into the 21st of March, boom, which is the 20th of March, in the Northern Hemisphere. Again, this wave just keeps on going, right? That's what a circular path looks like when you map it out for fucking anything, not just the sun. So let's just be clear on that. And then in the winter months, especially in North America, you have it where the sun is in Capricorn and Aquarius, and the Capricorn is represented by a goat, and Aquarius is represented by a human water bearer, even though it's an earth sign. At least in the images that we like, how we interpret the images in North America, a lot of people interpret the images in the sky, the 12 zodiacal images, or whatever you want to call it, differently, and that's fine. You see a rat, you see a dog, you see a fucking whatever. I don't give a shit, right? Like, these are all just words to describe phenomena in the sky that are repeatable, observable, and measurable. And so I don't give a fuck what you call it. Anyway, and so this is like what we call Satan, and correlates Satan with death and sacrifice and suffering and all that stuff. But Satan also rules. Sorry, Satan is associated or correlated with Saturn, the luminary Saturn above us, literally above us, and Saturn rules over Capricorn and Aquarius. It's the ruler of these planets, right? So Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn and Aquarius, the only fucking luminary, again, that rules over these two zodiacal signs. I've talked about this before. 7 and 12 matter, and also are connected to this zodiacal clock. Anyways, that's a representation of Satan, half human, half goat, and then with the connection with the color red as well. And he's seen as being red, and with the fire and the brimstone and the teeth chattering. This is because that you need fire to warm up. Okay, you cause fires when you're hot. Okay, you create fires when you're cold. Anyway, I just hope that makes sense. And there's a lot of suffering, that is during this period of time, or can be, because of the colder months. It's harder to survive. Animals, they immigrate or hibernate for the winter months in Canada and other areas that are also not suitable for not suitable living conditions during these times. Like even like birds migrate. Their like plant life is there's none. Like there's snow. It's snow covered barren land. It's soil. The trees don't grow. We have coniferous and deciduous trees, but I'm saying like the ones that grow food, harvest food. They apple trees and stuff like that. Like that's fall. Like when we pick apple trees and even harvesting gardens, you plant in Taurus and you pick in Libra or around that time. And so a lot of more people die of starvation and freezing to death during these times, especially living a more primitive lifestyle, or living more like remote, austere, like etc. And so many other things I could talk about with this. And so the sun's path, right? Like it's also like it's so even like the lamp above me, it's independent of the size or the circumference or whatever, not the circumference, but like the area, the surface area of the floor that I'm standing on. I hope that makes sense. So there's a limited amount of light that can be, projected, whatever you want to call it, radiated out. I don't even know what you would call it. But it has nothing to do with how large the surface is, right? So like it would actually be like you'd want maybe a bigger light or a stronger light if you had a larger room, maybe a smaller light, not as strong if you had a smaller room. I hope that makes sense. And so anyway, and so the sun's path through the like above us within the sky. And by the way, even with the inverse square law, like when things are further away, like light sources, this is done. I've shared this with projectors. When you like the inverse square law proves that like when you move something away, the further it is, the more like the less strong the light, but like the more expansive it is, right? Like this disintegrative expansive light. And we don't see the sun do that as anyways, we it's impossible at the alleged 93 million miles. I'm going on all these freaking tangents. And the reason why I wanted to share this was because on ChatGPT I was having conversations, and I asked what the difference was. Sorry, what the distance was from the North Pole to the South Pole for distances. And like ChatGPT a few times gave me 24,000 miles. And so this is another thing I wanted to correct. I'm like, that makes no fucking sense. So I was trying to do other calculations, and then I was getting that. Then ChatGPT and other sites were saying it's like 13,000 miles. And so it's all over the place. And 13,000 miles is quite a bit different than 24,000 miles. And so just so you know that I'm not lying about this stuff, I will show you my ChatGPT conversations. So I was like, what are you talking about? Like, anyway. So ChatGPT saying the average radius of Earth is approximately 4,000 miles or 8,000 miles diameter. And I think it's bigger than that. It's going with all the... So what town or region is 23.5 degrees south latitude of the sun's path? So that's the Tropic of Capricorn. So a town or region located at approximately 23.5 degrees south latitude would be directly under the sun's path on the December solstice. But again, like the Tropic of Capricorn is that circular path I was talking about, and the sun is directly overhead in like areas within that. Anyway. So Isla de los Estados, Staten Island, is an island in Argentina located off the eastern tip of Tierra del Fuego. It is situated at approximately 54 degrees south latitude. And we know that there, like 50 to 54 degrees can be measured into distance. And so even with that, like 15 degrees is like is 1,000 miles. So 15, 30, 45, like just for a rough guess. So it would be like anywhere between like 3,000 and 4,000 miles distance traveled. If you look at the calculations. And so also a fun fact with, anyway, I'll keep on going through this first. So I'll talk about Alex Springs, saying it's approximately 7,000 miles in a straight line. Diameter of the sun. I'm asking, so the diameter of the sun is approximately 1.4 million kilometers. Like, again, this is impossible. And impossible. Look how large the Earth possibly is. The diameter, 8,000 miles allegedly, as opposed to 1.4 million kilometers or 870,000 miles. When it like the distance between the Tropic of Capricorn and Cancer is no more than 47 degrees, like 47 degrees, right? Like, and so like when you've got the equatorial line, I hope this makes sense, at 0 degrees latitude, the sun doesn't travel more than 23.4 degrees north or south latitude of that. And even that is measurable. Okay. It's approximately 16,000 miles traveled or whatever it is. And so, this is what I'm talking about. And so, you have the sun traveling 15 degrees every hour, 1,000 miles. And so when you times that by 24, because there's 24 hours in a clock, that comes out to 24,000 miles. 24,000 miles. And that just so happens to be, obviously, 24,901 is what they call it, the circumference of the Earth, right? So like every friggin' hour, boom, 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 and every 2 hours within the zodiacal belt, it does that path. And I hope that makes sense. And again, even that, like the sun's path, the Tropic of Capricorn, there's still a whole lot of land beyond that, like, right? So like we still have like the north and the south poles. Allegedly, I don't think they're poles. I think that this is an electromagnetic reality, and it's the toroidal fields that are what are making this reality. And magnetism, like you need that. Like there's poles, but they're not physical, right? They're positive and negatively charged sides, or whatever you want to call it, and there's repelling and attracting or radiating and gravitational energy that is happening. Anyway, so all these friggin' questions, and then ask me about. So it does not matter if the Earth is curved or a globe or flat in the context of calculating distance between points on Earth's surface, such as from equator to the poles. Yeah, I keep on saying wrong. Circumference of the Earth. Again, like just it varies. So distance between the poles is approximately like. Anyway, so much like you have to know your stuff before you get into ChatGPT. Talk about curves. So at 3 miles, there's supposed to be 6 feet of curvature. And they try to explain that away too. And I try to explain that, like, we see well beyond 3 friggin' like a miles, like for ships and lighthouses and windmills and friggin' other people doing tests like at opposite ends of like lakes and anyway. So they keep on trying to give bullshit curvature. Oh, by the way, there would be, and so I asked about the curvature for at 3 miles. ChatGPT tells me this. So even more. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's bogus algorithms. So asking again, like how many degrees latitude, like how many kilometers or miles, however you want to say it. So again, measurable. 23.4 degrees of latitude is 2,572.68 kilometers approximately. So therefore, the sun is no further than 2,572.8 kilometers from the equator ever. That's what I'm asking it. And then ChatGPT, the maximum distance the sun can be from the equator is indeed limited by its maximum declination, which is approximately 23.5 degrees north or south during the solstices. What's going on here? So like this is what I mean, like the 10 o'clock at night, I'm fucking doing this. And there's a difference between the sun's actual position relative to the Earth's surface and its apparent position, by the way, in sciences as well. And that's how they also try to mislead us. So, you know, for this stuff, distances along the Earth's surface, such as the distance between the equator and the Tropic of Capricorn, would indeed be the same regardless of whether the Earth is considered a globe or circle, as they are based solely on the geometry of the Earth's surface. So that's another thing I just wanted to get out of the way. So I'm saying, like, whether globe, sphere, or circle, yes, that's correct. All the fucking calculations are the same. So the Earth travels approximately 1,000 miles at the equator, correct? Like, and so the speeds they're trying to allege at the equator that we spin, the Earth, this is all their way of trying to like fucking make shit up when it's clearly the sun. Okay, we are stationary, non-moving, a flat fucking plane of inertia, and the magic's happening up there. So again, I'm just reiterating, like, how many degrees is 50 degrees? How many miles? And again, approximately 1,000 miles. And the sun travels 15 degrees every hour through the zodiacal belt. That's correct. So like I'm saying this, and the sun travels 30 degrees every 2 hours doing a complete pass over of a zodiac sign, and 2,000 miles traveled in that past hour. So I'm just showing you what like these are. I'm just confirming with you. And then I say so every 24 hours the sun travels approximately 24,000 miles, similar to the circumference of the Earth. Yes, that's correct. And the calculations are the same on a circle, globe, or sphere. Yes, that's correct. So this is what I mean. Like there's people that are so fucking ignorant or caught up with the fact that they don't understand that some of the things they're arguing can apply to different, like can apply to a globe, a ball, like a ball, a sphere, a cone, again with the bases that are circular, like a circle, like, and so it's very important that people understand that, like when you're trying to say that the Earth isn't fucking flat because of astronomical mathematics, and I've done all the science, so have I, right? And so I'm fucking telling you that this is how they're getting us, right? Because the math is the fucking same regardless. So you're fighting mathematical calculations with me. I'm talking about like the guys that are doing this, and neither of us are fucking wrong. We're just using different fucking ways and algorithms and calculations to get to the exact same fucking result. And neither, like, you know what I mean? But either way, yours is based on a fucking deceit, right? Like, and so again, like we're coming up with the same results and stuff like that. But again, like the reality of the Earth is, in fact, there's so many other considerations to take a look at, like the fucking Earth curve calculator, to prove that there's no curve, right? And so we need to look, like there's more things that people need to take a look at, right? And so we'll get into that. Let's see, because I just go on all. So I said the annual path. I'm talking about and when I talk about the path, like, so the sun is in Libra at 6 p.m. on the 20th of March of every year during the spring equinox. That's what I said, and it's all the time, anyways. But and then it tells me about the spring equinox. And then I said that's the annual path you're talking about. I'm talking about the 20th of March. The sun generally crosses through Aries, between 6 and 8 a.m. Taurus from 8 to 10 a.m., etc. And then you say, I see you're referring to the approximate time of day when the sun appears to be in each zodiac sign on the 20th of March, specifically around the spring equinox. In astrological terms, the sun's position in the zodiac sign does indeed progress through the signs at roughly 2-hour intervals throughout the day. The timings you provided align with this progression, with each zodiac sign covering a 2-hour time slot. So if you considered March 20th as an example, I wanted to use March 20th as an example. The sun would be in Aries from approximately 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. The sun would be in Taurus from approximately 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., etc. This progression is a fundamental concept in astrology and is used to determine the astrological sign associated with a specific time or event. Thank you for providing the detailed breakdown. You are welcome. Same thing. Like, it doesn't matter if it's June, like July. It's the same fucking thing. And then it's saying, like, the sun doesn't look like it moves, or spin from a broader... Anyway. So many fucking questions here. Anyway, this is what I mean. This is like 10 o'clock at fucking night. And I asked the same questions because I wanted to just keep on going back. So you still did not answer. And then so the Earth's circumference at the Tropic of Capricorn would be larger, making Earth's circumference more than 24,000 miles. I'm getting now more into like the distances and stuff like that. Going through. I'm asking them. So use spherical trigonometry to calculate, because they're saying, oh, like there's so many things to factor in. Like, so factor it in. Talk about arc lengths and all this other stuff, motherfuckers. To calculate the distance from the Tropic of Capricorn to the North Pole, we can use the formula for the length of a meridian arc on a sphere. Again, overcomplicating things. Claiming that, like, yeah, I'm like, why did you say that? Like, the distance is 24,840 miles. Because I asked her, like, if Alice Springs is 23.7 degrees latitude, and then it says less than 8,000 miles. So again, it's all over the place. And then so I'm like, okay, so the distance between Alice Springs, which is the Tropic of Capricorn, to the North Pole, if you're looking at it, is 8,000 miles, which is the diameter of the Earth. Anyway, walk with me here. What town passed over the equator? Cayambe equator. Again, I'm just looking for towns, areas that pass over areas that the sun goes over. And then the latitude, longitude lines, obviously. Yeah, so this is what I was up to all friggin' night. Okay. So that's where it's saying 24,000 miles when I was asking. And then it says another thing that I'm like, not 24,000 miles. And then it says, my apologies for the confusion. The actual straight line distance between Cafe Kluben Island and the Emerson Scott South Pole Station is indeed closer to 24,000 miles. So again, this is why I was like, well, what the fuck? That's why I wanted to talk to this person. I'm not going to say who it is, but like, we're not going to be fucking talking anymore because I said, I'm not giving you fucking photos of myself. And I'm like, now this conversation is now over and there's no further correspondence that we're going to have to set up any fucking debates or discussions or flat earth stuff or truther stuff or anything else out there specifically for, I will say this group or this person. I don't want this to be drama. I don't want drama in the flat earth community. I'm going to speak my fucking truth and explain you why I'm not going to be out there more with planned fucking things I was going to discuss. And it has absolutely nothing to do with me or being my fault. I am literally repeatedly on a regular basis being outcast and ostracized from every fucking community. And it's not my fault. It's people that are trying to fuck me or fight me. And it doesn't help. So again, more of the problem. Or just, again, like just I don't know, inappropriate, right? Like inappropriate conversations. I'm not going to have, when I'm talking about equations and mathematics and truther stuff, I don't want to talk, like, anyway. Oh my God. So then I was asking, how did you come up with 24,000 miles before, et cetera, et cetera. Anyway, so I'm just showing you, just to clear up any confusion as to like if anyone asks me where I came up with that. Anyway. So then what I did was I did the Earth, not the Earth, the circumference calculator. I gotta get out of this now. So hard to explain all this stuff. Distance of Khayyam is what I'm trying to look for. There we go. Okay. So Khayyam, that's where the sun passes over when it's at the equator, which would be like the middle point from the, southernmost area to the northernmost area, if that makes sense. Anyways, it's saying that Khayyam to the South Pole is approximately 6,221.47 miles. And so I added that in, and then I did the calculations for the North Pole. 6,215.34 miles. I've already posted this on my my Instagram. So then when you look at that, like that in itself, and from the north and south, like I showed you, when you add it up, sorry, I'm getting like a million messages. I want to like make sure they're off the screen first before I show you. I hope you can see this. I added up the distances because that would be the diameter if you're tracking. So 6,215.34 plus 6,221.47 equals 12,436.81 miles we're talking about here. So then I did the radius, I did the circumference calculator. I don't know if you can see that. So for the diameter, I entered that in 12,436.81 miles. That would make 6,218.405 for a radius, miles radius. And the circumference, get this, for miles, people are alleging it's anywhere between 24,000 miles to 24,901 miles. But if that's the case, and those are the like more accurate distances between Khayyam, whatever it's, and like the North and South poles, that would make the circumference 39,071.39 miles, right? So pretty big fucking difference in miles there, right? Like that's a lot more land if that is the case. And so this is the stuff I would rather talk about. This is the stuff I would rather talk about in life because this is the stuff that's more important. And so it could be, I could be way off, but I'm just open to discussing that. I'm showing you my work. I'm showing you that I'm talking to AI systems and that I'm looking at maps, and so I'm not, anyway. So by friggin' November again, who is on a friggin' roll, and I really appreciate it. Oh, you see, sometimes you like and subscribe on things. I'm already subscribed, but like, and then it takes the likes away. Zetetic Warrior. I just fell on this this channel yesterday, and the first video that I looked at was already friggin' amazing, and it's called the Z Files or the Z Files, FE, Flat Earth, Z versus Globie. I don't want to single this guy out too much, but this is like the type of guy that I deal with on a regular basis that he's going to be dealing with. So I want you guys to take a look at this.
All right, so here's what graphics response is to me. Typical Globie. Nah, I'm good. Space travel will be commonplace in 20 years, and this discussion will be null and void, right?
Okay.
So that's your response, graphics. I'm presenting something to you, and your response is the potential of space travel and how you're assuming it will be commonplace in 20 years. That's your logic, good sir? Very fucking sad. Very fucking sad. It's too bad for you, man. I'm sorry that's your mindset. It's kind of insane. Generally insane. Graphics, I can't have this conversation with you over the chat, dude. It's not gonna work. Like that's not I don't know. Maybe the chatters can talk to you, good sir. But the fact that you can come here each morning with that insane level of cog dis, like a lively conversation would be welcome, graphics. But for you, like to just say, well, because space travel assumedly will be commonplace in 20 years.
See, this is why I'm sharing this video too, is because I get people like this. I don't want to single him out. Like, I don't want there to be hate on this guy at all. Please don't do that stuff. Like, hurt people, so he's clearly hurt. But your logic is a restricted field of view. They try to sound smart at first, and then they say really fucking sad, degenerate levels, laugh out loud. So this is like appeal to authority. So many different like things that are being said here. This is a very like, what is the point of this comment, other than to be an abuser?
This is mood art. Do you know they've been saying that
for really fucking sad, degenerate levels, laugh out loud. So again, like even with like, oh, this is like fuck
for like fucking 100 years, dude. You understand that, right? That they've been saying that space travel was right around the corner 100 years and still not here. You get that, right? Can you just please talk to this guy in the chat? I don't blame you, graphics. Like, how could you? Graphics, it's easy to be you. Do you understand? It's easy for you to just go along with the common narrative. So you can come here and just use consensus and appeals to authority to try to say I'm basically a fucking deluded moron. He said, your logic is restricted to field of view. Really fucking sad. Degenerate levels. I don't know if that makes me degenerate, dude. But field of view? So you're basically trying to minimize my whole outlook on this topic to the one presentation that I did today. That's what you're doing. So you're trying to show the one thing I showed today and say that it encompasses the totality of my understanding on the subject. Interesting. And people are weird. But like I said, it's not going to work here on chat. Well, by Saturn says he's an idiot, Z. People love to be fucked mentally. Well, an idiot or not, I mean, you said that, but you know, people wake up. What happens, ruled by Saturn, is people wake up on the wrong side of the bed, so they do the easy thing. He's backstage smiling because he knows I'm right. They wake up like pissed off at their life. So what they do is, instead of just like listening, trying to have rational discourse and discussion, they throw slings and arrows from the chat to try to basically exercise some of the demons they're carrying around with them. Because it's easy to do when you have literally the whole world supporting your understanding. Fucking weird, man. Heidi says they love their balls. Mind the Gap says maps work, models do not. Yep. I see graphics. Hold on. Take it easy. To the Bowler says, I got some slings. I don't know about arrows. Oh, and then he leaves because I don't bring him up in 2 seconds. Okay, much love, dude. I'm not sure we would have been in for a very engaging conversation anyway. He fucking ran away. Robot Seven says, yeah, possibly, but he's shown his stupidity more than once in chat. I don't know if it's stupidity. Listen, here's the thing, ruled by Saturn. You know, idiot, stupidity, you know, that's not maybe the approach we want to take. I'm just saying that it's definitely not. Look how you tried to start it. Well, graphics, why did you run away? As I'm about to bring you up, you fucking run away, dude. So what? You don't have the balls to come look my audience in the face? You fucking run away, dude? Come on, I came up. I'm still here. Where'd you go, dude? Where'd you go, dude? You're the one who ran away, not me. This is a talk show. You realize that, right? He said you started talking shit immediately. Oh, I started talking shit. You called me a degenerate because of my understandings regarding the cosmology. He said, don't even let me up. As I was about to bring you up. See, this is the disingenuous nature of people like you, graphics, because I'm actively, and everybody can see, putting the link in the chat. As soon as you popped up backstage, I acknowledged you. I said, you're backstage, hold on, I'm going to bat you. But you're so emotionally triggered that you're now just going to lie to a bunch of people who are witnessing the truth because you're triggered. Because the information that I present and that you choose to consume each morning is challenging your identity. Oh, let me let him up real quick before, God forbid, he leaves. All right, I hit the button as fast as I could there, graphics.
Right, yeah, you didn't have to do a bunch of comments about laughing and smiling and all that. Cool. That's
right,
cool.
I didn't have to do, like, I want to let you produce my show for, like,
Good on you. Good on you, buddy.
What's your issue, man? What's your triggered issue, dude?
Not triggered. Got no issue. I just think this discussion is dumb.
Then leave it.
Okay.
Don't watch.
Please enlighten us. Why do you think it's dumb?
I've been here for days looking for you to give some sort of usable explanation because I thought that you might actually have it. Usually you just deflect and, but today you did. And it's
I deflected. Hold on.
Not impressive.
So each morning when I take at least a half hour out of my show to present things like this that you apparently are watching over and over again, you're telling me that I'm not bringing any information and that I'm deflecting. You're literally contradicting yourself in the very same sentence.
You say something that says, yeah, this is actually, here you go. Here's video evidence. Here is my proof. This is the first time I've seen you do it. Now, I don't catch all your shows, so maybe I missed something. I don't know. But this was it, Then you show the shot of this guy with a restricted field of view through this capsule, then a complete shot. It's from a completely different perspective, completely different lens, probably a completely different camera, completely different field of view, completely different focal point. All of these things you don't discuss.
Dude, you see how triggered you are, man. Let me ask you something.
Man, she deflects to triggering.
I'm not deflecting. I'm trying to have a conversation.
Being triggered instead of answering.
You didn't ask me a question.
How do you explain circumpolar stars?
You didn't ask me a question.
How do you explain circumpolar stars?
How do you explain circumpolar stars in your globe?
I asked you. So you asked. I asked you a question. You asked me back.
No, because I'm not claiming a model. I'm saying your model's bullshit.
That doesn't get you out of anything, dude.
How do circumpolar stars prove or disprove anything? All right, let me put it like this. Whether the Earth is moving or the sky is moving, wouldn't we see the same presentation of these circumpolar stars?
No, because there wouldn't be. Why there wouldn't even? How is a circumpolar exist without poles?
Because circumpolar is a name, not a phenomena.
No,
a human gave. Man, your logic is completely absent.
What are you talking about? Circumpolar.
I'm just going to let you go.
Polar is in the word, dude.
Well, you have to know you're embarrassing yourself, dude. This is why nobody defends the globe. Graphics. Okay. This is why nobody defends the globe in academia, because it's
no one defends the globe. So even Craig, I'll go back to him from yesterday. There was nothing that he was talking about that had anything to do with the shape of the Earth. He wanted to talk about everything else for his 30 fucking minutes, which is a waste because 30 minutes can go away like that for me. Like I talk so friggin' much. I'm already 50 minutes in. and it's a reflection, a distraction, deflection.
Defensible.
Sure.
You're actually looking foolish this morning, but I'm going to let you continue.
Now, keep telling me how I'm looking foolish without actually answering.
Okay. You didn't ask me. You asked me about circumpolar stars. Can you frame a question in a way that I can answer it?
Why can I see different constellations in the southern hemisphere than I can in the northern? That's what a circumpolar star is. What is that? What is that?
This is
I mean,
level.
that's a different question. You just went from circumpolar stars to the southern hemisphere. So which question would you like me to answer?
You know what circumpolar stars are?
Yes, they're the stars. They're the stars that we observe that are moving around the North Star, which is called Polaris.
Right.
I know. One of them is the constellation of Ursa Major, and others. They are the circumpolar stars.
Why do they differ in the southern hemisphere versus the northern?
Okay, you're asking me why you can't, because you can't see those circumpolar stars in the southern hemisphere. You and I both know that.
Right? But it's flat, right? Why is there even a southern hemisphere?
How's this? Why are you assuming that you could just see things forever? When you get sufficiently far from an object, as I've been showing you with perspective, you can no longer see it. Maybe I'm saying maybe you don't see the northern stars from the southern hemisphere because they're
we'll get into it, but like right there, like for anyone that's a truther on my like on my channel, like you know that like he's completely missing like perspective, vanishing point, like the limited view of the eye, you know, and the fact that like we have a limited view based on our own limitations with our eyes. This has fucking nothing to do with anything else other than I can't help it. This is how I was born. And then you can use like advanced capabilities such as a camera or a telescope, etc., to further like you know, to bridge that gap or like or see further, okay, well beyond the fucking alleged curve, by the way, buddy. And so it's just it's unfortunate that like they just get wrapped around things and they think that if I can't see, you know, that, then that absolutely means that the fucking earth is, again, it's just
too far away.
I don't even know what you call it.
Yeah, they're too far away. So if I put a glass lens that is concave inside of a tube in front of my eye, which is also just another lens with receptors behind it, now modifying my eye so that it can see further.
Okay.
But I still can't see those stars. I can't see the sun that's
because as I've shown,
flat Earth all the time.
I've shown, who says you can just see forever? You know, we have something called atmosphere. I'm sure you like that word because it has a sphere on the end of it, right?
Of course.
What is composed in the atmosphere? What composes atmosphere?
It's like what? Mostly nitrogen.
Okay. It has what? Gases. It has air particles, right? It has particles of matter. Yep. It also has things like dust. It has things like moisture. You're just going to talk over me? You're just going to talk over me? You're just going to talk over me?
Yes.
Right, you are. So you're just assuming that you could just see forever through atmosphere when I'm telling you
and you're assuming you can't.
No, I'm not assuming anything. I just know you can't see forever because demonstrably you can't.
Right.
I'm going to put it like this. Can you see through a window pane?
You've already done this analogy and that works.
I'm asking you a question, but maybe not everybody heard it. Can you see through a window pane?
Sure. Now you stack a bunch together.
Right, glass is particles. Can you see through 100 window panes stacked up? No, you can't. It's opaque.
Can you see through 100 photographic
It's an analogy, good sir. You can't see forever.
This is what I mean. Like, it's. I'm gonna let this play out. Like, these are the conversations, and this is a nicer one. Impossible
because you're looking through particles of air.
100 photographical lenses.
If you're just going to talk over me, we can't have this conversation.
You understand? Stop, but you won't.
Graphics, you are obviously triggered. You're evidencing what I show each morning. You're all over the place. You're jacked up. You're gyrating. Right. Your voice. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at the emotions. I'm going to ask you some emotions. I want you to try to.
No, we're not going through your bullshit. See, answer some fucking questions, dude.
Oh, so you want me to do what you do? So you want me to bring you down an illogical road?
Can I see through them?
I don't know what his point is.
What is the difference between photographic lens material and glass?
You guys see this guy? Hold on, dude. You are really emotionally triggered, man.
Because what you're saying is just so stupid.
What I'm saying is challenging. It's unfathomable because you look through this world through a particular paradigm
Hey,
that you
Z,
don't
hey, Z.
understand has been conditioned for
Right.
you. That's why
Yes.
you're triggered.
You're
They
enlightened.
use
You're enlightened.
graphics.
You're
They
enlightened. Everybody
used
else
your
isn't.
they
I get
used
that
your
part.
emotions,
No,
and
I
that's
get
why
that
your
part.
emotions are triggered by
You're
the
enlightened.
subject.
Everybody else is not. We get it. What else though? Like, what actual proof do you have?
What
You're
proof do
using-
you
you're
have of the
basically-
globe? That's the point. Are you going to make me shelf you because you won't let me talk?
I
'cause you
don't
asked me a
care what you
question?
do, honestly.
Because you're not involved in the conversation.
Exactly.
You're
There
reacting
is not
emotionally.
worthy of being involved.
You're
in. You
you're
asked me to come up here.
You're tantruming, graphics. You're
Sure.
a grown man who's
Oh, and
tantruming.
now he's not
Sure.
worthy.
Everybody
Right.
can see it.
I don't care.
And everybody can see it. I don't fault you for it.
So what? Do you want to dwell on that now, or do you want to move past?
No, because it's quite obvious, dude. It's important to
So
say
you want
that.
to dwell on it?
Dude, you're assuming you could just see forever. You can't just see forever, dude.
No, I'm assuming
Who
that
told
with
you?
implements,
Who told you
you
can
can
see
see.
forever? Whether it's a star,
far
whether
can
it's
you
the
see,
sun
buddy?
going away, whether it's a building.
How
You're
far
the
can
type.
you see, buddy?
You're the type of guy. Well, it depends on the atmospheric conditions. Do you know the horizon changes depending on atmosphere? Do you know that?
Oh no, enlighten me.
I'm talking about things that if you stand, okay, with a lens and a camera or a telescope or whatever, and you look across the ocean, okay, if you leave it there over time, you will see that the horizon changes. It goes up and down because that is not a physical horizon. The fact that it changes shows that it is an apparent horizon based on a number of factors, not only your perspective, but also the conditions of the atmosphere. The horizon is not, nobody who defends the globe is even now will still stick to your point and try to claim a geographic horizon. Nobody will do it because it's indefensible. It's provably not. So the point is you can't see forever because the angular resolution of optics brings it to a point where you just can't see forever.
Exactly.
Things converge to a focal point. Hold on. Think of that as visual information. As that visual information converges to a focal point, it becomes obscured and diffuse. You just can't see forever because of how optics work in this 3D reality. Study non-Euclidean geometry when you want to look at.
So even like I'll give another example too. Like even water, like in different states, like that is observable, and that we can see. And then you've got like other different like chemical compounds and stuff like that, or elements that it takes longer, right? And so like we see it freeze, we see it evaporate, we see it in its liquid form, etc. And anyway,
optics.
Okay.
There is a convergence and divergence into.
So my point to that is just because you see water in a different state, it doesn't mean that like you should be looking at that, and that's the only bit of information that you're going to look at regarding like that molecule or that like atom, whatever. You know what you know what I mean? Because like there's different states you got to look at, like so many different things.
A focal point. It's plain and simple.
Exactly.
You can't see forever because in this reality, you can't see forever. So when you say to me, when people say to me, Z, how come I can't stand at the Atlantic Ocean and look over and see the Eiffel Tower? It's not because of Earth curvature. It's because you can only see so far.
Right.
And we also can't fly, you know. Sorry.
Plain and simple. So when you ask me why you can't see the northern stars and the circumpolar stars from the so-called southern hemisphere, it's because you could only see so far. Plain and simple, dude.
Oh, so when I take my telescope and I put it in my backyard, or let's say I go out to the dunes on the edge of Lake Michigan and I look at Wisconsin through my telescope, can't see that with my naked eye, but on the right day, with it being clear, with my scope, I can.
Right.
You're proving
it increases it because you're
something. Can I say something? Can I have
go ahead?
He's even saying like when I see like beyond a certain distance, like with my naked eye, I don't see it, but when I use my telescope, I see it. Like no shit. And now anyway,
hey, you're just increasing the angular resolution. You still can't see infinitely.
What I've done
you're increasing the angular resolution.
You talk about focal point. You talk about all this stuff. What I've done with that lens is I've increased that distance, because I've just added a separate lens on top of my already existing lens in my eye.
Correct.
Yeah.
So what is your point?
The
You've
point
increased
is
the
I
distance.
increased that distance. The better
You
the
still
lens, the
can't
better the
see
distance.
forever because you're looking through an atmosphere, man. That's just the way it is, dude.
I can definitely see far enough to see what would be required. What is it supposed to be? 3,000 miles, 6,000 miles for the sun on the Flurf model, which, by the way,
So you're
doesn't
presenting
even
a model
have
that I didn't
working
say.
model.
Did I just give you a model? No, you just presupposed the model that you think I hold. Do you understand
Because
how
you flat earthers are so all over the place,
you
I don't
flat
know what the
earthers?
number is. What is the number?
We're all over the place.
Does anybody want to? I think
Flat earthers pretty generically like believe the earth is flat, buddy. Like the whole religious stuff that also gets muddied in the waters. I'll give you that, but like freaking globe earthers, like it's
think Mr. David Weiss might be here right now. Rose probably called him in. Do you want him to explain to you what I'm explaining to you? Look, Rose is laughing. Do you want Mr. David Weiss to explain to you what I'm trying to explain to you?
Why do you need somebody else
schedule
here
a time?
to explain something for you?
I don't.
I mean, what are you? You're seeing through an.
I don't. I do it
Okay.
to you every morning. Graphics. I present these things to you each and every morning. You come here. You're particularly triggered today. If you review the interaction you and I just had, you're probably not going to feel very good about it, sir.
I don't
You're just.
care.
You're
No,
just
I really
emotionally.
don't care. Like, that's
it's
the
not
thing
your
about it.
fault.
I don't care.
They indoctrinated you through your emotions.
Yeah.
This is
boy.
Your response here is
and men think that anger is not an emotion. That's fucking hilarious. Like they will call women emotional. Okay, well, like one of the lower levels emotions is anger. So when you're showing anger, you're being emotional.
exactly how you were programmed to respond.
Right.
Because my information challenges the very
because flat
foundation
Earth is
of
so
your
important.
identity.
It's so important to everybody, like the 100 people on the planet that are concerned about NASA.
You're not interested in where you live and the fact that you're being lied to on such a massive level that it's beyond comprehension.
The lies that are really being told are governmental, and you know, the things that are being controlled with are way beyond as stupid as trying to make us think we live on a globe versus a flat plane, which has zero effect on anything really that happens on this planet.
Well, let me ask you.
Average intelligence level of a person here doesn't even give a shit.
I'm going to let you just spiral.
Right.
And just keep evidencing the emotional. Not that you're a bad person, but you're evidencing exactly why they've done this.
Right. Okay.
Because you're doing the easy thing. You're coming up here and you're using a litany of logical fallacies, including an appeal to authority, an appeal to consensus, a begging the question fallacy, presuppositions galore. You're using ad homs. You're demonstrating.
Sounds like you're just using a bunch of big words to say that you don't know how to fucking explain this shit properly. There's no working flat Earth model. There's no agreement.
You're just going to keep
amongst the community.
Links in the chat for anybody who wants to join.
Flat Earth guys like some crazy gyroscope, and he ended up proving that it was curved.
The links in the chat for anybody who wants to join as this man spirals.
And then when he said that comment, like I already knew that he's getting his information from Netflix, and he's not getting actual information from actual like data. And this is what I mean, like the danger of just like going and getting like your information from YouTube or social media platforms. Like this is what you're getting. People like Zetetic, like I'm just falling upon his stuff, and I've been I've been at this for years. It's because like people like us, we're not looking at other people's content. I'm sharing a lot of people's content now, obviously, but like that, like I got to this level based on doing my own individual fucking work for a very long time, and then going through and doing the observable, repeatable, measurable calculations and experiments and stuff like that, like on my own before I got at this level, right? Because this is something that still destroyed my career, my life, my relationships, everything. It absolutely has. I'm hoping that it turns around, but we have a lot of people like this guy in the world, and not helping at all.
See, no response now. No response.
But and so we're quite comfortable, like being able to explain or articulate how we got to flat Earth, and but we have people like Craig and this guy. It's like these are just it's literally everyone. Like when they're discussing things with us, the appeal to authority, to consensus, and stuff like that. People think that they can be abusive. All right. And this man talking to like a woman, like he's talking to Zetetic and stuff like that, it could be a lot more intimidating as well. And so it's a bullying tactic. And it's and after this, like, is he gonna go, to a daycare and like punch a baby? I just don't understand.
How am I supposed to respond to your scattergunning, insane questions?
One response. What about the guy that just proved the curvature of the flat Earth guy? That I don't even know the guy's name because it's not worth it. But what about the guy that just proved curvature with some kind of expensive ass gyroscope that they donated or some shit?
How am I supposed to answer the insane, nonsensical question you just asked? Can you try again, please? Please ask a question that I could respond to. Links in the chat to join the panel.
A gyroscope. And I'll see, then you talk over when you won't even let me ask a question.
Go ahead. Floor's yours. You're talking about the gyroscope. Are you talking about a laser gyroscope?
You know what the fucking question is, dude. Quit
no,
playing games.
I don't know the question. Are you talking about a laser gyroscope, or are you talking about the traditional gimbal gyroscope? Do you really want to get into gyroscopes and how they prove a level horizontal Earth? Do you really want to get into that?
Yeah, I want to get into how the flat Earth guy that's like one of the main guys in the flat Earth community.
Oh, really? Like this? Oh, really? Like this guy who I'm just going to bring up?
Hey, what's your name, guy on the stream? What's your name? I want to explain something to you.
Just give the explanation. You don't need my names.
All right, can you
see like the fucking level of arrogance too? And Dave Weiss is such a good guy, like a respected guy in the community as well. And then he's just like, I'm not gonna give you my fucking name. Like, can you imagine someone talking like that to? Like, I just it's so, and this is what we're up against on it. This is literally what we're up against on a 24-hour in a 24-hour period every fucking day. I get shit from guys like this.
Can you see my screen?
Hold on, Dave. Let me increase it, Dave.
Let me get in front of my computer so I can see it.
Okay. So you're while you're doing that, you're all over the place. You keep moving the target of what you're talking about. So the one thing you were talking about is, why can't we see Polaris? And the answer is because it's too far away. Now, it's not. Terrestrial vision and celestial vision are two different things. So a star, any light in the sky, sun, moon, and stars, they're celestial objects. They are above the atmosphere. We could all agree on that. Okay? And we all agree that things go into the distance. I'm just trying to pull up my OBS here. Things go into the distance and they become eye level. So here we have a perspective grid. Here's a guy looking down, and that line is his eye line, and that's where he sees the horizon. I throw a mountain in front of him. Now, you and I can agree that that mountain is thousands of feet above his head in theory. If it was real, it's just an illustration, but this is how life works, and you can do it. Go out and stand in front of a house, and that house is above your eye line, right? So
yes.
So here's the sun, and the sun is just going away. It's not going down. Now, right there, as the sun went past that mountain, is the sun below the horizon, or is it just beyond the mountain?
I mean, it would be beyond the mountain.
Thank you. Right. And you could prove this by one, going up. If you had a magic balloon to lift you up, you could see it. Or let's pretend there's 100 miles of farms behind you, and you walk backwards. And if you walk backwards, that mountain is going to get smaller and smaller, and it's going to fill the whole foreground. And now it's going to look like that.
And this is the point I will say that I start getting a little more faith in him, because this is where he's actually like not so like rude and aggressive and angry and all over the place. Like, he's actually listening now. And it's so hard to get people to listen to anyone else, because everyone nowadays is like so on the defensive. It's not even his fault. Like, he's probably a great guy, like with other people. It's just like when people with ego and anger and stuff like that, like they get a little bit of education and they think that they know what the fuck they're talking about. Like, it's so this is why the world is fucking like collapsing, right? Like, it's unfortunately because like people are not taking the time to actually listen.
Now you can see the sun because you have a better perspective angle on it. Okay, so that horizon, that underneath the sun.
I know I talk a lot about like the behavioral stuff. It's because I'm fascinated with psychology and behavior, and I also have advanced psychology courses and certifications, and read countless friggin' books. and literature on it.
Sun, the top of that mountain is thousands of feet above that viewer's eye line. So now we're going to move the sun farther away. And what does it do again? Does it go below a horizon or does it go beyond the mountain? Now it gets worse. I'm not even going to let you, just let me finish. So now we add the clouds in there. The clouds are directly above his head, and the clouds in the distance are all merging into that horizon. So as we move the sun away, which is above the atmospheric deck, right? Whether there's clouds or not, the atmosphere becomes opaque over distance. It goes not only beyond the mountain, which is thousands of feet above his eyes, it goes beyond that cloud horizon, which is thousands of feet above the mountain. So now I ask you, did that sun go below a ball Earth or did it just go beyond the mountain and cloud horizon?
I mean, I guess it would be that this is the entire argument, right?
This is just showing you how this is not a theory. This is not flat Earth or globe Earth. This is how we see. This is how perspective works. So I just showed you that the sun went beyond a double horizon. If those mountains weren't there, the atmospheric deck would be there. It goes beyond that atmospheric deck. If you go in an Olympic-sized swimming pool that's perfectly pristine, clear water, and you look from one end to the other, you can't see the wall on the other side because it becomes opaque over distance. The atmosphere is the same thing. Okay. So we can't see too far. We can't see farther. Now going to your other thing, globers that have been at this forever, full time, trolling us forever, they can't come up with a globe proof, but flat earthers can. So you want to bring up a Netflix hit documentary, Behind the Curve, where we've gone over it a million times. You just don't want to see the answer, where they edit it and make it look like we proved the globe when in fact we did not. The ring laser gyro measured about a 15 degree per hour rotation of something. And Bob made a comment to the producer who took that comment and put it in a movie. But he left out the other comment that were like, what is it that's moving? Is it the earth? Is it the sun? And so they did another experiment where they went up at the same latitude to Pikes Peak, I believe it was, and they measured again, and there was a significant difference. Now, if you understand the experiment and how the ring laser gyro works, that undisputably proves that it is the sky that is moving and not the earth. Okay, you can look deeper into that later, and then you can retract your belief that this is a proof. And then and you'll probably also comment on the laser experiment in that video where Jaron had 3 pieces of plywood with a hole leveled, and they were leveled to a canal. And when they were going to use a laser, but the laser condenser that makes the laser not spread out melted, so they couldn't even use the laser. So they tried it with a light, and they held the light, and the guy says, "I can't see it." And then Darren says, "Hold the light higher," and the guy reaches his arm up. Now, how long is your arm? Is it 3 feet or is it 27 feet? Because when he held it up, the guy said, "Oh, I can see it," and that's where they ended the movie. Well, if the Earth was a globe, he'd have to hold his arm up 27 feet, I believe, for them to see it. But he was able to see it at just 2 or 3 feet, right? Then he brought the camera. This is all off the film. He brought the light back down, and they could see it again. So in reality, you could walk away from that going, that proves there's no curvature. But everyone walked away and said there were so many variables that proved nothing. But you want to run with, they proved the globe. And then your last thing is, why does it matter? Why the frig does it matter? What if this world is so much more than they're allowing you to see, allowing you to have? Free energy, more land, probably, your position in the universe, in this realm, the power, the true power that you have, right? For you not to be able to see that, they have you exactly where they want you. You are lost in the sauce, and you don't realize what's important. I did the same thing. I was you. I laughed at flat earthers. I mocked them. I said boats over the horizon, seasons, sunsets. And then I looked, and then I was able to change my mind based on new information, right? And then I threw my hands up, and I said, before that, I threw my hands up. I said, well, what difference does it make? What difference does it make? I still have to go to work on Monday. And then you find out it makes all the difference in the world. This is where they want you, thinking that it doesn't make a difference, that it doesn't matter where you are, who you are, what you are. Doesn't matter the power that we truly have. They want the government to be over you. You're over the government, okay? It's God, man, government. Government is trying to put itself above God, let alone it's already above the people in most people's minds. Not my mind, not other flat earthers' minds. And you said, I think you made a disparative comment, like the other 600 people or whatever. There are multi-millions of us growing every day, right? You are going to be in the minority very soon.
Yep.
Thanks for letting me talk, by the way. You're very polite.
Yeah. Like,
Okay.
that's what I mean. Like for me, like he got so much more respect from me with this, honestly, because like I think with him, his name is graphics. I really hope that people aren't gonna like go and troll him and stuff like that, because in his mind, he was coming from a good place. I know that sounds fucked up, right? Like hurt people. Anyway, but he let Dave Weiss talk, and was actually listening, and so like that takes like so much, especially when you're live on television, like on whatever you want to call it. That in itself is already intimidating.
Yeah. So just a question for you. Stars from both of our celestial poles, along with the seasonal constellations we have, they all create a spherical map of the stars.
See, he's actually now, like, he's looking at stuff now. He's still trying to prove Dave Weiss wrong in his head, but he's still coming at it so much more different. You know what I mean? And so you got to give it to him for that. He looks like he could be a good guy
when you plot their positioning and the way that they travel.
Right.
How does that work in a flat Earth model?
Yeah. So again, looking at the lights in the sky when they're provably not what they tell us. You know, lights. The stars that you're talking about are supposedly gigantic balls of gas in a space vacuum, scientifically impossible, at distances that make absolutely no sense as far as the inverse square law of light and everything else goes. So you're looking up at things that we don't even know what they are, where they are, how far they are, and you want to say the movement of those dictate the shape of the floor. So you know that they say in our galaxy there's 100 billion stars, and that most of them, I think they say 80% of them are binary. Do you know what that means?
Singular.
No. Binary means that they
on or off?
stars. Yeah, two stars orbit around each other. Two stars are in a binary orbit, kind of making like a figure eight in their orbit. All right. So we have a galaxy that has arms that are spinning at millions and millions of miles per hour. And then all of the stars in those galaxies, most of them are in binary orbit. So they're making this crazy figure eight pattern. But never in history has anyone ever observed two stars crossing each other's pattern, right? Like, hey, that star over there is now on the left side of that star. It used to be on the right side. Never once has there been any parallax in any stars. Okay, you'll hear stories. Oh, the stars used to be different. The pyramid used to point at Thuban, and now it points at Polaris. And we just happened to live at the time where the pyramid shaft points at Polaris. You know, we had the Georgia Guidestones that was pointing at Polaris, that thin little hole, and it was up for over 40 years. That means that Polaris, according to the heliocentric model, its only excuse for why things don't move is because it's so far away. That the precession would have moved a half a degree. A half a degree, I believe, is like 1.5 moon widths. Right? It would have been long out of that hole. And as soon as we reached that point where we were bringing it up on all these podcasts, pointing out how it's proving that we're not moving, somebody blew up the Georgia Guidestones. And within hours, they had bulldozers there to knock the whole thing down. Okay? You can keep living in your little globe paradigm and refusing to look at real evidence. And that's your choice. You can have that. I would never live there.
So the star trails that do create a spherical map, they're just fake. We just don't know what they are.
If you look, I have on my app, which I'm sure you don't have, in the star rotation section in the frequently asked questions, there's a whole bunch of videos explaining a whole bunch of different ways. But one of the things that the Globers use is called an azimuthal grid of vision. This is how they navigate using the stars. They put a dome, a vision dome over you, and then the way we perceive the lights in the sky on this dome, they actually work perfectly. You have corpuscular and anti-corpuscular rays. Not something that I can explain to you right here, but there's a whole bunch of videos there that will explain it to you. But even if it explains it to you, I don't know why you're looking at the lights in the sky to prove the shape of the Earth. There is no curvature.
Exactly.
Water lays flat, level when at rest. Large bodies of water are at rest. There is no curvature. There's no measurable curvature. No curvature, no ball.
So you can't create a sphere out of water.
No, you can. Well, the NASA with their CGI, but a drop of water, anything bigger than a gallon of water at rest lays flat. Period. Okay. Now you want to say a raindrop? That is the surface tension. Can surface tension hold an ocean? I don't think so. I mean, you can claim it does,
no, it
but
would obviously be gravity at that point. But I've also, I mean, you can create on this planet. You can create a levitating ball of water.
Which gravity? Yeah, but that's a tiny little drop of water. Give me a
No,
gallon.
this is not a drop. I mean, you can create a large, but it would all just depend on what mechanism you had to put behind.
Well, I have, show it to me. I mean, show me. You know, why is there no curvature? Why is there no curvature?
I have a video of it somewhere.
Why is there no curvature?
No curvature to what?
No curvature to the Earth. Okay, so here we go. Here, let me just show you. This is an 8-mile canal, and it was frozen, so you can't claim refraction. We have the camera just inches above the ice. We're looking across at these lights. These are lasers. The one on the left is 8 miles away, then 7, 6, and 5. Right? These are the distances to the laser. We're just inches off the ice. The curvature should be 30 feet, 22 feet, 15 feet, and 9 feet. And I rounded down. Okay. I rounded down because I was like, you know what? The lights are a foot off and everything. And I used the curve calculator and I rounded down 30 feet, 22 feet, 15 feet, and 9 feet. Why are they all at the.
And so he's still there. Like, this is what I mean. I'm like very impressed with men like that. That takes courage. That takes balls that he's still there listening, even though he was just proven wrong, like on the biggest fundamental friggin' conspiracies out there, literally still like, yeah, okay, I'll still listen. Like, and he's taking it really well, right? Like, and so anyway, I just wanted to show you the Pythagorean theorem. Again, this is a Globie's calculations, Pythagoras, if he existed or not, I don't give a shit. But anyway, this is a Pythagorean or Pythagorean, however you want to friggin' pronounce it. I speak friggin' multiple languages, so give me that. I'm fluently bilingual. Je parle français aussi. Je viens de Québec. On parle français là. Curvature for a ball with a radius of 3,959 miles. So you can look at this yourself. So anyways, this is the alleged curvature. So again, like water apparently is being able to be like stick to this friggin' ball. You can't duplicate that anywhere on Earth, but like apparently that can happen. But I will tell you that just like everyone else says, large bodies of water at rest seek level and are level. And so mile 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way down, people understand that. And so then you go into miles, feet, inches, etc. Okay. And so just to break it down, because most people know feet. Okay. So this is very a good, comparable. So at 3 miles, allegedly, there would be 6 feet of curvature that an object would be hidden behind it. Like there'd be obstruction of a curvature, an alleged curvature. That's not a reality. 3 miles. Infrared destroys that. But even like, again, like advanced technologies, like graphics was saying, like a telescope, right? Like this is easy. There's easy ways to refute this. And again, this is not even my fucking model. And so yet again, globe earthers, stop being mean and just talk to people. Like this is what I mean. Like people are too busy yelling at each other. Like even at protests, it's just friggin' like 2 groups yelling at each other. I don't even know. Like this is what I'm saying. Like I'm like things could work, but that's not how you make things work. And that's why I get so much into the behavioral stuff, because it's very important, because we are humans. And we know nothing about ourselves.
Exact same plane when viewed with a camera.
There's just so many variables. First of all, how do you know
and that's
that the level of that ice is perfect?
Yeah,
Secondly, what you're seeing here in this camera image is various levels of distortion depending on distance. So there is an obvious effect of the distance there.
So on a flat Earth, there is a
but as far, I mean, and it's so distorted that you wouldn't even be able to discern a drop.
So hang on. On a flat Earth, the horizon is a apparent position. On a globe Earth, the horizon is a physical position. The horizon should be, for that camera, for seeing the surface of the ice, and the ice is flat. Okay, seeing the surface, and if it's curved, that's even worse. Is less than a mile away. At that height, the curvature of the Earth should block the surface of the ice. But we're seeing stuff that at these great distances where there's 30 feet, it should be hidden behind a physical object of a physical Earth. Okay, now you could say variable, you can say refraction, you could say the ice isn't level. Okay, that's you making up excuses to defend your position. Okay, it's okay to change your mind based on new information.
Yeah, what calculation are you using for that 30 feet drop over 8 miles?
I'm using the Pythagorean theorem. I'm using the out of the three calculations, I'm using the one that gives the globe the benefit of the doubt. Okay, it's the one that has the least amount of curvature, with all the ones that they say are accurate. I'm using the globe Earth curve calculator, where you're using viewer height, object height, and distance.
So even Dave Weiss, he's using the globe Earth calculator that you can get on the internet yourself, or you can use the Pythagorean model, or you can use 8 inches per mile squared.
Oh, 8 inches per square mile?
Nope, mile squared.
8 inches per mile squared. Now that is accurate up to like 2,000 miles.
So at 8 miles, we should be what, 64 inches down?
No, 8 times 8 is 64 times 8.
So it'll be
8 inches per mile squared. So at 8 miles,
roughly 42 feet, 42.68 feet.
Times 8 equals 64 times 8 inches equals 512 divided by 12 equals 42 feet.
There you go. Yeah, see, that's a lot for people.
42
I'm not
feet.
sure. I'm just not sure.
You're not sure about a lot of
where
things.
the squaring is coming from.
So do you know what the Pythagorean theorem is?
See, now he's
what the Pythagorean theorem is?
No, I guess not.
So it's the most simple form of geometry. A squared plus b squared, if you have a right angle, equals c squared, the hypotenuse. Okay, and if you take the diameter of the Earth, 39, 59, or whatever they say it is today, and you use the Pythagorean theorem, you can figure out the drop completely accurately. And 8 inches per mile squared, it follows the Pythagorean theorem, but it's even a little bit less. It's like I forget the number. It's like just over 8 inches, but we round it down. We always give the globe the benefit.
So he's just gonna he took it well. I'm gonna stop it there because he basically just fucks him off. You know what I mean? And I get it, right? Because this guy's been trolling him for a very long time, allegedly. I don't know the whole facts, and so at least he was open to sitting there and discussing, and I really do hope that he becomes a flat earther after that conversation. And it was really amazing that Dave took the time also to talk to him, because some people, it depends on the person that's giving the delivery. They're not going to hear anything you say anyways. They're on the attack, and a lot of people too with me, they're on the attack. And so this is about Coriolis effect. I don't know if I shared this in a video or not, but I'm going to share it in this one.
In the mid-19th century, a Frenchman named Gaspard Gustave Coriolis performed several experiments showing the effect of kinetic energy on rotating systems, which have ever since become mythologized as proof of the heliocentric theory of the cosmos. The Coriolis effect is often said to cause sinks and toilet bowls in the northern hemisphere to drain spinning in one direction, while in the southern hemisphere, causing them to spin the opposite way, thus providing proof of the spinning ball Earth. Once again, however, just like Foucault pendulums spinning either which way, Sinks and toilets in the northern and southern hemispheres do not consistently spin in any one direction. Sinks and toilets in the very same household are often found to spin opposite directions, depending entirely upon the shape of the basin and the angle of the water's entry, not the supposed rotation of the earth. From science.howstuffworks.com, quote, while the premise makes sense, that the Earth's eastward spin would cause the water in a toilet bowl to spin as well, in reality, the force and speed at which the water enters and leaves the receptacle is much too great to be influenced by something as minuscule as a single 360-degree turn over the span of a day. When all is said and done, the Coriolis effect plays no larger role in toilet flushes than it does in the revolution of CDs in your stereo.
Good morning, Tim.
The things that really determine the direction in which water leaves your toilet or sink are the shape of the bowl and the angle at which the liquid
Shape of the bowl, the angle, like not a spin.
initially enters that bowl. So even mainstream science publications admit the so-called Coriolis effect has absolutely no effect on the behavior of water in sinks and toilet bowls. But this fact doesn't deter scammer opportunists in Ecuador and other tourist traps along the equator, where a popular parlor trick is performed using a portable sink to purportedly prove this Coriolis.
See, for the people like Craig out there, parlor tricks, right? There's a lot of Globies. The Globies are the ones that use the parlor tricks.
Effect. First, the showman sets their sink, already filled with water, perfectly along the equator line.
And that makes you not a good person. No offense, right? Like the people that are trying to expose the parlor tricks are people that are trying to help humanity right now. We are collapsing in on ourselves. Like we are self fucking imploding because of assholes that are continuing these parlor tricks.
Pulls the drainage plug, showing their audience how the water drains straight down the hole. Next, they pick up their portable sink and walk their gullible audience several meters to the south, into the southern hemisphere, explaining how the Coriolis effect will now cause the water to spin clockwise down the drain. This time, they purposely pour water into the sink from the left-hand side, and quickly pull the drain plug while the water is still spinning clockwise from the angle it was poured. Next, they pick the sink up again and move the magic show a few meters into the northern hemisphere, explaining how the water will now spin counterclockwise. To conclude the show, they then pour water into the sink from the right-hand side, making sure to quickly pull the plug while the water is still spinning counterclockwise. The Coriolis effect is also said to affect bullet trajectories and weather patterns as well, supposedly causing most storms in the northern hemisphere to rotate counterclockwise, and most storms in the southern hemisphere to rotate clockwise, to cause bullets from long-range guns to tend towards the right of the target in the northern hemisphere, and to the left in the southern hemisphere. Again, however, the same problems remain. Not every bullet and not every storm consistently displays this behavior, and therefore cannot reasonably be used as proof of anything. Many professional snipers have stated unequivocally that they never have to factor or compensate.
And I will reiterate, 15 years as an infantry officer, the first female in the history of the PPCLI regiment during this cycle of life, okay? And at a time where they were not wanting women or, you know what I mean, like to be in the fucking regiment. I guarantee you that. And so like, it wasn't like open arms, like, no. I don't even know where I was going with that. Oh yeah, so I would know about like long range firearm shooting, stuff like that. I had to be qualified and certified and able to employ and understand the capabilities of every single weapon system in the Canadian Armed Forces because I was an infantry officer and I deployed overseas, etc. Like in actual fucking war. And I've also competed, even like the Sandhurst competitions, like when I was at RMC and stuff like that, like firearms competitions. And I've done it even when I was in the special forces. And I literally was the only woman on the fucking line, even during training with like the elite level special fucking forces. And I even beat them during competition shooting. All right. Even in fucking Blackwater, which we're calling Academy. And I have witnesses for the proof, right? So like, I'm not just saying shit. Like, I'm not like freaking Joe Biden who like lies about everything. Like I can actually back up what I'm saying. And then I was I married a sniper. it was annulled, so I don't even have to even admit that I was married, and it was awful. But anyway, and we did a lot of firearms like stuff ourselves as well, and then again, I was in a mechanized battalion, so it was light armored vehicles, so like long range, long distance capabilities, and I've done like cards and traces, mapped out like traces for live fire ranges, etc. And don't factor in any fucking curve. We're not factoring in any like none of that shit, ladies and gentlemen. You're getting it from an actual expert, and I don't mean to say that other than like it is what it is, right?
For this supposed Coriolis effect, sniper bullets are actually affected by wind, temperature, humidity, barometric pressure,
Yes.
sight aperture,
Yes.
and human error,
Yes.
not the alleged spin of the Earth.
Exactly.
From snipershide.com, quote,
and so Eric Dubé knows that, and he does yoga every single day, and he's vegan, so and he's more of a man and understands firearms better than most snipers.
I've shot at 2,000 meters, and whoever says
Hilarious.
Coriolis effect is a factor is full of it. Wind, and more crosswinds will play games with your bullet more than anything else. And from sniperforums.com, quote, I shoot at distances up to 3,000 yards, yet I have never experienced a need to compute for Coriolis effect. I have killed deer out to 1,000 yards and never had something go awry that could be attributed to Coriolis. Ironically, the same people who claim sniper bullets are affected by the Earth's spin are the same people who claim planes, helicopters, and hot air balloons are not affected by the Earth's spin, because the entire atmosphere is somehow magically adhered to the Earth and dragged spinning perfectly along with it. These globe Earth apologists cannot have it both ways. Either the atmosphere is independent of the Earth's alleged rotation and can affect bullet trajectories, or the Earth and the atmosphere move perfectly together and therefore can have no effect on bullet trajectories whatsoever. If they claim the former, and the atmosphere is independent of Earth's alleged rotation, then helicopters should be able to simply hover in place and in 12 hours be halfway around the world. Or if they claim the latter, that the Earth and atmosphere do move together, then they are admitting that the so-called Coriolis effect is non-existent and could have no effect on bullets or weather patterns.
And really need to look at lasers and if they're factoring in curves too when they're targeting moving objects and stuff like that on a stationary plane. I'm already fucking so long into it, but I wanted to get into Zetetic destroyed more globe earthers, and so I'm already running super late. But anyway, I have nothing better to do this morning.
No matter what shape you believe the Earth to be, whether you think Earth is a convex.
So this, I was talking about pendulums and stuff like that as well. That's why I'm talking. I want to show this as well.
Ball, a concave bowl, or flat level plane. There is an objective, empirical, scientific, demonstrable way to prove it once and for all. All purely perceptual proofs, from long-distance photography to laser tests, are unfortunately subjective, non-empirical, and can always be contested by appealing to various visual phenomena, such as refraction. The ultimate experiment, to practically prove the shape of the Earth, would be a fixed, permanent, tangible construction, demonstrating empirically, in perpetuity, the truth for all to test. Professional structural engineer and outspoken globe skeptic Brian Mullen has invented and outlined just such a structure in his Force the Line project.
Hi, I'm Brian Mullen, and this is Force the Line. Here's my idea. What we do is we need 2 miles of relatively flat land, or it's easier if we use flat land. I'm thinking Oklahoma, Nebraska. Florida would work, but there's a lot of crap in the way in Florida. There's so much foliage here that we would need maybe we could do this under power lines, but who really wants to work under power lines? So here's what we do. We set posts over a 2-mile stretch of land. What I've got here are my posts, okay? 10 feet on center. Here's your first post, second post at 10 feet, third post at 20 feet, all the way down to 2 miles, 2 miles away. Here's your last post at 10,560 feet, or 2 miles, and your second to last post at 10,550 feet. Okay? Got my break line in here to show that the distance between these two posts is 10,530 feet. You see what I've drawn, okay? Now the idea is everything is based off the first two posts. Okay? What we do, we set the posts in a straight line. Very, very easy to do. Contractors can definitely do this. And then between the very first two posts, we construct a beam between the two and level that beam. Okay? We level this beam, okay? Make it level. This is typically how beams are constructed. You always level them out unless there's a roof slope or something. But for a floor beam or something, you would always level it. Anyway, so this point right here is this point on the Earth if we live on a convex sphere, okay? Meaning that when this beam is leveled, there is an imaginary line perpendicular to the center of gravity of the Earth, extending this to the center of the Earth. And then we do the same thing all the way to the end. We level each one of these beams all the way for 2 miles, okay? So every time you level one of these beams, it should be extending, it should be perpendicular to a line extending to the center of the gravity of the Earth. So over 2 miles, those beams will actually follow the curve. They have to. If the level works, the only way it can really work is on a sphere is if it works with the center of gravity. Okay? Then what we do is we use a rectilineator type device below it to force the line. This very first beam we construct right here is perfectly parallel, or as close as we can get to perfectly parallel to this beam. It's leveled too. We level that beam, okay? But then for all of the rest of the beams on the forced line, as I'm calling it, we use a connection here. It forces this beam, it forces a right angle connection to the first beam, okay? So say this is our first beam that's leveled. Okay, it's leveled out. The next beam that comes in, we use precision machine work, like a CNC machine or something similar, to create a connection that forces a right angle connection to that first beam. Okay, so now this second beam is not actually level. You wouldn't be able to tell from the naked eye. And if you put a level on it, it would probably still show that it's level because our levels are not that accurate. But it will stay in line with this beam. And we do that all the way down to the end. Now, we can just use a rectilineator type device. We don't have to build these beams. We don't need 1,057 of these beams on the bottom, because they're going to be expensive to make a right angle connection like this. You see I've got 90 degrees at all four corners. We can just leapfrog it and just mark the columns or the posts as we go until we get the line. Now, if the Earth is a sphere with a circumference of 25,000 miles, then over 2 miles, we should see from this point to this point a drop of roughly 32 inches. You can draw this in AutoCAD and prove it. This is what it has to be if the circumference of our world is 32 inches or 25,000 miles. Okay? So we go all the way down to the end. And this last post, we should have 32 inches between these two lines.
All right, who's ready for the hard truth of this one? I'm just going to say it because it's facts, it's truth. What you do with it is up to you. Brian Mullen started pushing and organizing the Force the Line test, which was a similar water-based test to prove the lack of curvature. This is when he was personally attacked and threatened with his career.
Crazy.
because it's hard to call the civil engineer that can back his work up with math a crazy idiot. So they had to get him off YouTube because he was pushing the actual test that would prove the globe a lie.
Years ago, after presenting this, Brian Mullen was bullied, threatened, and made to choose between ceasing his online activism and deleting his channel, or being fired from his job. With a family to look after and little support from the budding Flat Earth community, Brian chose the responsible thing for himself and his family.
Yeah.
And his excellent work and ideas were tabled.
And it's looking like I'm gonna have to do the same thing. I really got upset last night. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's again like women are different than men in a lot of ways and stuff like that. And I'm honestly feeling hopeless because like even again like I'm trying to find a community for people that get this stuff that I can like bounce ideas off of, and I'm not getting respect in any community, and again even like the truther community, unfortunately. And so I have yet again cut ties with people, and I'm not going to be reaching out again. I don't like it. It's like, you know what I mean? It is what it is. And it's unfortunate because again, like, it's not that I want to, it's just, that's just how life is for women in the industry as well. Like I don't want to make this sound like a sexist conversation. It's just unfortunate that so anyways, and even this weekend, I'm supposed to be having a meeting with a journalist within Canada that it would also like if it was a good interview or meeting rather, like and this person actually listens to what I'm sharing and takes it and stuff like that and actually spreads more of the truth. This is also a way to like assist Canada, but it's now becoming more of a like it's like a I don't even think like it's there may be ulterior motives for the meeting, and I'm not gonna like put anything in anyone's mouth or anything like that. Like it's just and so like I might cancel that because I'm not going to put myself out in a certain way, and I'm not misleading people either. That's a frustrating thing. And so like if the expectation is that like there's going to be any like intimacy involved or like sexual whatever involved, like again, I'm not from OnlyFans, okay, and you're treating me like less respectful than as someone from OnlyFans or someone that does porn or escorts and stuff like that. I'm getting treated the same way as these people, and I'm not them. And I'm not going to again sell my fucking body, like I've repeatedly said. You know what I like to for viewers and stuff like that. Like unless it's to make it not selling my body, but like putting myself out there. I put myself out there to try to get viewers to make a point, and not to make a point, but to get the truth out there. And so like again, I'm frustrated, but it's just it's unfortunate that like I would my information should be getting to mainstream media, it should be getting to elected officials, it should be getting to the higher levels of government, it should be getting to journalists, people I'm reaching out to, but the response back is never people that are interested in my brain or what I have to offer in a non-sexual way. And so I'm in my 40s now. And I'm sick of it. I'm not on fucking dating apps either for a fucking reason. Like, I don't want to do that. Okay. I'm not meeting good quality people anyways. And you would never do that on the sites either. And then like with the transmission of like fucking photos that people are doing now so easily, just like, you know what I mean? Like with Snapchat and stuff like that. I'm not that. Okay. I wasn't on Snapchat sending fucking vagina pictures to men and whatever. Like, again, I wasn't doing that. So I'm definitely not doing that now. And so anyway, I did want to say that I don't know if I'm going to do any more videos. It's not worth it. It's not going anywhere. I had like 100 views on all of my videos yesterday, 100 views, and it's been years now, and I'm losing money. And it's stressful. Very stressful. And I literally have no one. That's the unfortunate part. Like friends, family, got none of that because of, again, like what I'm sharing. It's not even how I'm sharing it. It's what I'm sharing. And so it's me and my dogs in a log cabin in the woods. Anyways, on that note, I will leave it at that. And I will say that I did try, not just for over 4 years. I've tried literally, like I've been in the industry for over 22 years. And it's still getting worse. And I'm still watching videos of grown-ass men watching women get abused in public and purse stolen, grown-ass men in first world countries watching that happen and then saying that we deserve it and we asked for it because feminism and equality. I don't even know what they're talking about, but that's where we're at. And so I will leave it at that. And I hope that everyone has a better day than me.